Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and it's time for my final review for import month. So we're going to take a look at one of my largest imports, Godginrai. Now Godginrai had two releases. The original toy was released in 1988, the same year as his American equivalent, the Powermaster version of Optimus Prime. But this version that's sitting here before you is a reissued set that was released in 2002. And in a little while I will tell you how to exactly tell the two toys apart. But for now, let's take a look at the focus of this. This toy is pretty large because it is a combined gift set featuring for two toys. One of them would be this one here in the back, Super Ginrai, which was released in America as Powermaster Optimus Prime, although this one has a few modifications and differences to it that makes it a different toy. And then the other toy that it was released with, or separately in some cases, is the God Bomber. Now, as these are Power Masters, as you would have seen with my double dealer video a long ways back, I start them out in the vehicle mode, which would be the easiest since of the silly gimmick that they use. So we'll start with the vehicle mode for Ginrai. As you can see, it's basically a boxed semi-truck cab with rather interesting and large trailer. Thanks to the plastic wheels, it does roll. Not as great as it should because of how low the toy sits, but it's not too bad. Still getting some decent movement here on the table. Plus, of course, with the somewhat loose connection to the trailer, you can adjust Ginrai pretty easily. Now, the God Bomber trailer can also be attached. The easiest way to do that is we got to fold in the side panels on the trailer for a moment so that we can pop the back end open and basically it connects into the open holes in the back side. You just gotta help hold it in place till you snap the legs, snap the back of the trailer in, close the panels up, and sorry I didn't realize I bumped the camera. But you now have yourself a very long semi-truck. God, you'd hate to get behind this thing on the highway. Then, of course, for added play value, of course, just like with the American release toy, you can attach the gray guns here along the front and then mount the black guns on top, preferably at a slight angle so that they clear. Leave that one up a little elevated, and it looks somewhat like it's clearing the truck. Not the best layout, but still looks pretty wicked. Alright, for transformation purposes, we got to separate the trailer here. Just pop that loose. Show you that inside a little later. And for right now, we'll set God Bomber out of the way so that we can show you how to transform this part. For starters, we got to ditch the trailer. Just wiggle it free. And we'll set it aside for the moment. And of course, you'll need your figure. And this is Ginrai. Like the other Powermaster, or in this case, since he's the Japanese toy, a Godmaster. His arms do rotate here at the shoulder, so move his arm up all the way like that. Has a joint at the hip, and about mid-length, close to the knee, but it doesn't bend like the knee. Basically, you'll have him do a splits, and then fold his legs up to the side, so they plug into his shoulders. And now, he's in engine mode, so you can plug him in to the front of the toy. Remember, just because the ads always showed that, that does not mean that's how you need him. Should you misplace Ginrai, all you would have to do is push in on this little white tab that's poking out. Push in on that, and the toy will be released. Just like that. But since we got him here, I just wanted to show you that could be done. Oh, one other thing to point out to y'all. The biggest difference between Godginrai here and Powermaster Prime, front of this truck here, this is die-cast metal. Right here, folks. Right here. 1988 original version toy and the 2002 remake. Die-cast metal. The American toy, plastic. Plus we got real blue tinted windows, not stickers. I mean, he's right here, folks. I mean, take a look at that. This is all plastic. This is plastic. These are stickers. So you can see, automatically, this guy gets some brownie points here for having some better materials here. Alright, in you go. Squeeze in. Fold it down just like that. Grab this section down here. And you will fold it out flat. Become his feet. Fold down this white section here. Form a hip shield. Just like that. You'll take the arms. Fold them out to the sides. These blue portions here will fold down to become his arms. And then you just pull the head up. And there you go, he's in robot mode. Yeah, his chest is a little plain. That's because this toy's stickers have not been applied yet. The original owner didn't apply them, and I don't think I will either. That means I get to show you an unapplied set of sticker sheets later in this video. If I can say it. And then, of course, added bonus, you can give him one or even both of his black guns. Now, here's where I point out the variation between the original toy and this reissue. The original toy, just like the American Powermaster version, will have red eyes. See that? Red eyes in there. This 2002 remake, which stands before you here, getting close, he has blue eyes. So keep an eye out for that, folks. One other thing to point out is the smokestacks. This is actual chrome, which is nice, but on the Japanese toy, surprisingly, these are smaller than on the American toy. I mean, right here, here's the American one, and here is the Japanese. You can see it right there. Got no comment for that, folks. I'm sure it leads to some colorful jokes, but we're not going to cover them on this channel. This is a family channel. Alright. Articulation-wise, well, that leaves a little to be desired. Take the gun out here. He does have a joint that allows him to do a face plant. Get up, Godginrai. Has a joint here at the elbow, so it does allow for some arm movement. The biggest problem with that comes in the form of how big his guns are here. As you can see, the back end of the gun smacks into his shoulder. There's no rotation on the shoulder here, folks, so Godginrai, like the Powermaster Prime, cannot properly aim his rifle. Moving back along, has a joint at the hip that basically allows him to bend forward like that. There is a joint here about at the kneecaps, so you can ratchet his legs like so. But it also makes him double jointed. He can go that way too. And then lastly, there's the one at the ankle that's more or less used for transforming him, but it is there in case anybody wishes it. One last thing to point out about him is that this section here on his legs, this is a sticker on the American version. This is actually this gray color, this is actually painted onto the toy. This is no sticker. So, more brownie points for this toy. Now we get down to what do we do with the trailer? Well, the trailer transforms into a battle station. As kind of an homage to the original Optimus Prime trailer, as even in the animated series Super God Master Force, where Godginrai appears, the trailer was seldom used in this mode, but we'll show it to you anyways. To start off with, you raise the top a little bit here, so you can fold in the side panels. And then next, you're going to reach here at the back of the trailer and have it open up and do a splits. All the way. And as I promised you earlier, these grooves in here, this one right here, that would be where the God Bomber unit would connect. So now we stand it up here like so. We'll fold down the top of the trailer. You pop these sections all the way out. And you got a couple of pieces up here you can fold down as added ramps for small vehicles. And you grab these red components, fold them down, and then rotate them so they're pointing straight up. And for some added defense, plug in the 2 particle beam cannons down here on the base. And you can attach the black rifles right here for added defense. Heck, for even added fun, as the box art even shows it, you can rotate up the trailer hitch, and it becomes another cannon. And there you have it, folks. You got a nice little base. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it does look kind of fun. It's got the essentials that you would need for play. All you have to do is add in some figures or other things, and then there you go. You got yourself a sweet little play set. Something we didn't always get with a lot of the Transformers, so it's kind of nice to get it when you can. Oh, there's the added benefit. You rotate Godginrai's legs downward from his shoulders, and we can just plug him into one of the particle beam cannons like a seat, and he's manning the guns. This will look like he's doing something useful. Now we move on to that super part that I mentioned. Start here, after they're both back in their vehicle modes. We'll start here with Godginrai himself. You just take the back part of the truck and fold this blue section up and against the red cab. You don't really need Godginrai plugged in here, but that's more for looks. Especially since that's how he would be in the cartoon and such. Set him aside. Now to turn this into the rest of the component that we'll need, we first start, once again, lift the top up and fold out the side panels, just like we did earlier. And now instead, we stand it upright. These red components here, you fold them down to the side and then rotate them forward. Slide on these little knobs to bring out his fists. This is a different thing to the American Optimus Prime. The fists were molded out permanently and were in the same red color. Why they changed that, I have no idea, folks. Then lastly, we take the trailer hitch, fold it all the way around and flat against his back. And now, we will take the body, take the truck, and slide it in, just exactly like that. Make sure it's in straight. Then we shall attach the head up here at the top of the body. And of course, plug the black laser rifles into his fists. And mount the gray particle beam cannons into his shoulders. And there you go. Godginrai. This is Super Godginrai. God part comes after we deal with God Bomber. Well, let's see how he looks compared to the American toy, Optimus Prime. Let's get in a little closer, folks. I mean, they're almost the same. I mean, the biggest noticeable difference also is in the chrome. As you can see, the chrome's a little bit lesser here on Optimus Prime than it is here on Godginrai. Including, it's even noticeable there on Little Godginrai versus on Haikyuu. Then you come down here to the upper legs. See, this is all just molded in gray. Whereas over here on Godginrai, that's chrome. So, other than that, there's a slight color difference on the head. It's almost not noticeable. You gotta really see it, but it could also be the light in here too. Let's get Optimus out of the way. Yeah, I know there's some sticker differences, but that's trivial to talk about since I don't have the stickers on Godginrai. But he also suffers the same problem like Optimus Prime. The articulation is only in the arms. You rotate the arm all the way around the shoulder, and that's about it. Now, for a little bit of comic effect, you can't have him raise the headpiece up and have him look at a different angle here, but that looks kind of stupid. And that covers Super Godginrai. Let's move on to the God Bomber. Terribly sorry about that interruption there, folks. We apparently had a malfunction with the camera. But since we're back online, let's keep going. The legs in reality should be like that. The gray is in the center, and the blue sticks out to the side. Now, we'll take this gray component. As you can see underneath it, there's a head. So we'll flip the head up. And these two posts down here at the bottom connect the two holes on the top of the legs. Like so. Just line it up and down you go. Now these posts here along his side, well, those line up with the holes on the chrome front piece. So we just mount them in and fasten them in to make sure they're secure. Just exactly like that. And of course next, we're going to connect the red wings. They have a small post here on the inside, on the one side of them. Those will connect right here into the shoulders. Just exactly like that. Raise the camera up a little bit here. And then, of course, these blue pieces then form his arms. As you can see on the one side, they do have a hole, so that would indicate this is the right arm, this is the left arm. Just take these little posts here at the top and insert them into the holes on the wings. And then lastly, we just plug the rocket launcher into his shoulder. Of course, load it. And try not to shoot myself in the process. But this is the God Bomber in its robot mode. Kind of almost does look like an angry Megazord or something. But of course, since he's built entirely as a component unit, he's not exactly the most stable. I mean, he does stand pretty good, but you're going to want to definitely limit how often you would move his arms or whatnot, because as you can imagine, you get too wobbly with them and they'll probably come off. See, just like that. Get a little too much movement in there, they will come apart. But he does have pretty decent range of motion on his arms. You get about 45 degrees with the gap that's inside the hollow arms, so you do get a decent amount of motion with it. If you want more, you just move the fins back, and then that'll allow it to do 45 degrees in another angle. All in all, he's not too bad. I mean, there have been worse that have done this gimmick, but I mean, while he certainly isn't perfect, it's not bad either. Now, for some of you, you might be thinking, hey, Sparkster, that's enough fun for me, but we're not done yet. Oh, no, we're not done yet. These two can be formed together to form the final version, Godginrai. So now we're going to start on that. First thing we need to do is God Bomber here needs to be taken away and torn apart into his component pieces. And of course, while we're doing that, take the weapons off of Ginrai. He'll get them back here in a moment. Let's get God Bomber apart over here. Bring the pieces in, because we're going to need all of them. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There we go. Alright, with all the pieces removed, you'll take the God Bomber legs, fold the feet up. Fold the feet up just exactly like that. Now, each of these legs will connect to the bottom of Godginrai's legs. Wait a minute here, we got the wrong Godginrai. Prime, what the hell are you doing in here? This isn't your movie. Upstagers. I swear to you folks, you'll be laughing at this one all the way home. Now, on this one, now that we're sure we got the right toy, separate the legs just a little bit. And then you will take the legs and plug them in on the underside. One way or the other here. We just got to make sure we do it the right way. Been a while since I've played with this toy, folks. Hold on a second, let's pause. Note to self, do not impersonate Craig Ferguson. Show up for rehearsal. Alright. This is how the legs are supposed to connect. The wheels on the God Bomber trailer will be on the inside. So this little silver piece next to the wheels will go over this screw hole on the inside of the leg. So the wheels should basically be opposite. You can see right here you have God Bomber's wheels, and right over here are the trailer's wheels. So that's how it fits in. You'll see it here from the opposite side, that the blue post here goes around and connects here onto the trailer. And we'll bring the leg down together. Nice good snap. As you can see here, he's also gotten considerably taller. Any giants out here in the audience? Alright, next step. I'm going to slide the fists in so that we can attach the blue God Bomber arms onto his. And remember, make sure that you have the hole up so that you can see where the guns will attach later. There we go. That's better. Now, once we got those attached, you turn him around to the back side, raise the trailer post, take the front chest for God Bomber, fold the head in, and just plug these two posts here on the back side into the two holes on the trailer. Just like that, and then just bring the posts down to help hold it in place. Then we'll take the wings and attach them from the side, like so. Then turn him around, face us. Take the chest component here, and it just plugs in over the front. Just like that. And then finally, the missile launcher gets attached, but it attaches with this post right up here at the front. So it's laying sideways. Like so. Then now you attach the particle beam cannons down here at his legs. And remount the rifles into his hands. And there you have it, folks. Godginrai in all his glory. Rather imposing toy, isn't it? This would make him one of the larger of the Transformer toys. Now, a variation of this toy was released in America. It was called Powermaster Optimus Prime with Apex Armor. So they renamed the God Bomber as Apex Armor and gave it a different legend. For good or bad, that's the opinion for somebody else. I'll let that be judged by more interested parties. Alright, so take a look now at the loose parts, starting with the ones that would be for Super Ginrai. Starting here with Ginrai himself, the Powermaster engine, or Godmaster component. As we pointed out to you a little earlier, the easiest way to tell him apart from the Optimus Prime one is the fact that Ginrai has chrome on his engine. And of course we have the large robot head. Very nicely detailed. He has two of these particle beam cannons, as the American instructions called them. And they're in a darker gray than the ones that came with Optimus Prime. And of course, lastly for Ginrai, you have two of these black laser rifles. There's one angle, and there's the other side. Those cover Super Ginrai's parts. And then now we'll take a look at the God Bomber's parts. Starting with the front of the vehicle. This will be the vehicle front. It's all in chrome up here and black underneath. Of course, you got the trailer hitch that hangs from it. As you can imagine, this would be a difficult piece to find reasonably intact. But probably not too hard, given the vast number of these toys that was made. And you have two of the trailer pieces here. As you can see, they're opposites. That's what they look like trailer side, and this would be what they'd look like on the back side. They're intended to be obvious, and they do have an L and an R molded into them. Hold it right side up. See, right there's the L, and right here is the R, so you'll be able to tell which ones you need. And of course you got the front chest plate. The head is just attached in there. You can see that's all it is there on the front. Sans stickers. And just hollow here on the back side. Then you got the two of these arm pieces. You'll need one of each of these because they only got the hole on the one side. You flip them over to the other side, they don't have one. They unfortunately do not have any engraving to tell you which one is right or left inside, unlike the leg pieces. You get a single rocket launcher. It's all done in black. Just has a little scope on it here that fires the missile. Get a good look at this up close part here. This is where it connected on his shoulder. Interestingly designed little weapon. You get two wings, and again they are opposites. If you look real close there, you can see an R and an L on them, so you'll know which one's right, which one's left. Good thing to notice. And you'll also get two of these missiles. Yeah, I know, I'm only showing you one at the moment. That's because the second one on mine is still attached to the tree. The previous owner only freed one of them up, and I've kind of left it like that. It's something, but a nice bonus. Alright, folks. Like I promised you earlier, it's time to show off the sticker sheets. For starters, we got this small sticker sheet, which I believe goes for God Bomber. And lastly, we got this large sticker sheet for Godginrai. It's a rare treat to see an unused sticker sheet in good shape like this. And trust me, folks, I intend to keep it that way. Now we'll move on for a quick look at the instructions. This side covers the instructions for Godginrai himself. So you can kind of see there up along the top how to connect him in and turn the truck into a robot. And then it goes into how to turn the trailer into the battle station. And then, lastly, how to combine the two together to form Super Godginrai. Then briefly, a quick look at the component parts and how to apply all the stickers. And then over here along the side, we have a reprinting of the tech specs for them. And if they're going like they normally would on many of them, then they'd be in the same order. And I'm not entirely sure, so we won't bother with that. The thing you will notice here at the end is a larger number. This is basically a total for all of the stats altogether. That's what they add up to. That usually comes in handy in some of the games that they had produced in Japan for the Transformers. Like the decoys that were available here, the numbers on the back in their original Japanese line, they consisted of this number here at the end of their tech specs. So basically you would do like a blind draw game with another player and try to see who could pull out the one that was the strongest. And then down here you have a similar thing for the God Bomber. Again, if these are all in the same order, he's also got some relatively impressive stats, but it seems to also be probably taking him into account as being an individual robot. And while he could operate independently, I'm just not sure if this is all accurate or not. But to each their own, I presume. But having a 60 compared to Godginrai's 76, it's not too bad. Flip the instructions over to the back, as they show How to completely assemble the God Bomber. And put him into robot mode. Plus, this also has some variant assembly instructions. And this right here is basically putting him as Godginrai. There's also other configurations that the weapons, the wings can all be mounted in. To help add to the fun and the play value. Very, very impressive. And then down here you get all of God Bomber's pieces and how to put his stickers on. A rather nice touch. Then, of course, this set included a little tech spec card for the combined unit. Flip it over to the back. And as you can see, the stats really shoot up for them combined. It's a little disappointing that he winds up still at a 79, when just without the God Bomber attached, he was at 76. So, a misnomer of sorts, maybe? Just one man's theory. Now we'll set Ginrai aside for a moment. For one last thing, before we get to my thoughts, have a good look at the box. As you can see, this takes up a fair amount of space here. Over here on the one side, shows off both toys and then the combined form. More or less does something similar up here on the top. An abbreviated version as well on the bottom. And we'll turn it around to the back side, and as you can see, the mural is very similar to the same one that came out in 1988 here in America. Of course, all these characters were featured in the anime series Super God Master Force, which I believe you can still find at many of the online retailers. Pretty interesting to see the different way that the Japanese promoted the toys as compared to the American. Interesting sight to behold. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of them? I like the improvements that were done on Super Ginrai versus what we got for Powermaster Optimus Prime. The die-cast metal and the clear windows on the front of the truck and some real chrome on the toy. This was done well after Hasbro was cutting a lot of that out of the toy line to save on costs. So this is definitely a significant improvement upon the American release toy. I mean, the American one still gets some credit due to the fact it's Optimus Prime, but this one being of a totally different character, this is pretty spot on. The God Bomber, I'm kind of mixed about. I mean, the play value that he brings is kind of nice, but I'm not a big fan of the fact that you pretty much have to take him all apart. I don't think there's another way that could be done to make it work when you see what's done when the both of them are combined. So I'm kind of on the fence about God Bomber. Sorry, I needed a drink there, folks. Now, as for the combined unit, this thing is imposing. This is pretty nice. Got the nice wide selection. And as you saw there on the instructions, you have other means to connect all the parts to him with for different scenarios. This would have been a fun toy to play with as a child. So it's kind of a shame that the God Bomber unit was not released here in America. I mean, yeah, they could have come up with some way to do it. So it's kind of a shame that Hasbro didn't come up with something to do to release it here. But in a ways then, it makes it more special by being with a Japanese exclusive toy. So all in all, I'm going to put all three of them, Super Ginrai, God Bomber, and the Godginrai combined form, all in the top tier. They're just barely going to make it into the top tier, but I believe that they firmly deserve the chance to be up there. Ginrai was kind of a sympathetic character in the animated series, being an ordinary truck driver who found himself through happenstance and blind luck to be drawn into the Transformer conflict, and he slowly grew as their leader. Sort of in the similar ways that Optimus Prime did here in the American line. So while he may be somewhat of a copy, Ginrai did it his own way. So thumbs up for this toy. And that concludes my review of the 2002 edition of Godginrai. If you like the video, please thumbs up it here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already. And please do like and share your comments down below. This is the last of import month, and I am glad for that to be done. We're going to start going back to regular Transformers next week. So this is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.